How is everyone doing tonight? It is Saturday night, I believe. Yes. I feel all right. And I don't know what we're doing tonight. Tonight's kind of a little bit of an oddball stream. I had something originally planned, but I've had to postpone that. Because unfortunately, I'm not able to actually do it on stream. So, we're going to be doing some odds and ends stuff tonight. I've got to print a new mount for Toasty. Is the lighting okay? Is my lighting wrong? Why are you not like that? I don't know. Why does my lighting seem off? Oh, that's why. One second. That's why. There we go. I'm like, why is that so blown out? I got to print a new mount for Toasty because we're putting in the Phaetus Voron Dragonfly or Dragon Hot End, and so we have some. The Phaetus sent some. What is it? Glass-filled Ultra PA. So I'm hoping it's PA 16, or 12 or 16. I don't know. We're gonna print this stuff, so we're gonna get that. We're gonna try and solve the overheating issue with the Raspberry Pi on the V0, because that's a Raspberry Pi issue. That's nothing to do with the printer. It likes to sit at exactly 61 degrees, which exactly 61 degrees is the temperature where it tells me it's overheating, even though it's not overheating, and it'll be fine, but it likes to warn me, and it's annoying. So I've got a 5-volt Raspberry Pi fan I've had for like 5 years that I'm going to put in it. And then we'll try printing upside down with it. Why not? Somebody asked me to print upside down, so we'll try that tonight. Yeah, so I missed some stuff. Let me catch up here. John, thank you for becoming a member. Talfox, thank you for the £2. I believe that's pounds. Thank you very much. Have I seen the new Dragonfly? Yes, I've seen the new Dragonfly. I was somewhat aware of that was coming out. So now everyone who complained about, it doesn't apply. The patent thing is no longer an issue with that thing. So yeah. Remove the back panel. I don't want to remove the back panel. It looks all clean with it. Had to move the Pi. So originally I tried putting a little heatsink on it, which brought it down from 64 to 61, and that's not enough. So I have a 5-volt fan that I'm just going to plug in, and we'll use that. So tonight, just going to be a variety stream. I'm just going to do a bunch of random stuff. No real big plans. I will be doing an Enraged Rabbit feeder, carrot feeder, whatever the heck it's called. Enraged Rabbit Project carrot feeder, I think. The multi-extruder thing, the Voron equivalent of an MMU. I will be building that. I'm just waiting on stuff to come in, and I got to print it all still. So that will be the next big project on the channel. Oh yes, music. Yeah, we'll go with house music today. There we go. Is the IDEX, so the IDEX is, I was originally going to stream it. However, the company that sent it to me wants me to not stream it. They want it on video. They want me to do a video on it. They don't want me to play with it live on stream. It is a, there's the filament. It's a JG Maker Artist D Pro. They don't want me to stream it because somebody who previously streamed the unboxing and setup, according to them, had issues with it, and they didn't want that happening to me. So they want me to do it not live. Wow, this stuff is really stiff. Wow, hopefully it prints good. So yeah, so holy heck, this stuff is stiff. I've never worked with glass-filled nylon, but it's shattering. Is it supposed to shatter? Oh my god, I don't know if I can use this. This stuff is like, I don't know if I can use this. It's way brittle. Yeah, I have a hardened nozzle. We'll try. We'll see how this goes. Throw that up in there. Probably needs to be dried. It's brand new, and it was vacuum sealed. Needs some water. Oh my god, this is a nightmare. Might need drying even out of the package. Yeah, you know what? We'll dry it. Well, I understand, like, it is an IDEX. Like, put it this way. I've never used an IDEX before. So, I kind of don't blame them for wanting me to, not have a bad experience the first time. So, I kind of understand where they're coming from. Yes, my filament dryer lives on the ground. I'm running out of desk space. It also keeps my feet warm in the winter. And for those wondering what my filament drying setup is, it's literally one of these with all the things cut out. So we'll let that do its thing for a bit. Okay, I guess we'll work on the Raspberry Pi first. It's called the Flora when it's inside. Well, we're in the basement, so. Print more desks. I don't have room. I don't have room. I'm legit, like, gonna be turning the closet here into storage in a minute. The Y gantry. Oh, I've seen those. They're like little metal plates. I don't have issues with my first layers on any of my machines, so yeah. Print a wine cellar. Can't have a wine cellar. Sounds sneaky. No, I don't blame them for not wanting a live unboxing. Like, here's the thing. I'm going to be doing a video on it, and if I have issues with the printer, I'll bring up those issues in the video, because remember, I'm getting paid by YouTube now, and when you complain about stuff, you get more clicks. So that's how it works, guys. But no, like, if I have an issue with the unboxing, I will bring it up during the video. So it's not that they're trying to avoid it. I think they're more just trying to avoid not quite knowing what you're doing and doing it live and giving a bad impression. But this was last night's project, by the way. So this was printed on Toasty with that 1.2 millimeter nozzle I drilled out. So this is a Chelsea from Chaos Cortec. This on their Patreon. It's a femme vase. So it's got a little bit of a donk on it. So yeah, so this is that. Let's get rid of that. So these are one of those little things that I'm kind of happy I got now. Ooh, somebody super chatted. Talfox, $2. Thank you, appreciate it. How's the homemade Stream Deck doing? It's holding up well. Like, that's what I use. It's this little homemade Stream Deck that I made. It's just 8 buttons basically, but it's all I need. What IDEX? JG Maker Artist D Pro. So, my basement here is dry enough. I keep my filament out in the open. I don't do anything fancy. Literally, it's all on a rack. Oh, I gotta turn autofocus back on. Oh wait, you gotta see the crappy camera while I do it. Sorry guys. Enjoy the crappy camera for a minute. Properties, configure video, control. Nope, not that. Focus, autofocus, apply. There we go. Okay, so this is where I keep all my filaments and all the cardboard boxes that everything comes in. All part storage and printers and more printers and that, and yeah. So I'm running out of room. But luckily I don't have to like keep all my filament in dry boxes because my basement is dry enough for PLAs and ABSs. However, nylons and the polycarbonates and whatnot, I've been using these airlock bags, dry lock bags. They're so nice because you can just throw them in here and you're good to go. Need to clean up. I do need to clean up. Usually the end of the month is when I clean up everything. I cleaned everything up before the Yukon build, put it that way, before the V0 build. I forgot to get all the extra air out first. There we go. Okay, so yeah, so these are awesome. They're not that expensive. They're reusable. And all it is a resealable bag with a vacuum pump. And it just sucks the air out. So I've been using these for like my nylons and polycarbonates and all my other stuff that I actually have to keep dry. And then I just seal it up and throw it on the shelf and it's good to go. Hello, Duff. I should probably turn the hot end off on the toasty there. And voila, all nice and dry sealed up. Don't puncture this bag. You just open it up. And then I can just throw it on my shelf. And we're good to go. Yeah, vacuum food saver things are pretty much the same thing. Unfortunately, I don't think I could sous vide a steak in that. So, let's fix this so it doesn't overheat. And then somebody wanted me to print something upside down. They, I don't know if it was a video. I can't remember if it was a video comment or a tweet or a DM or what. But somebody was like, oh, you got to print upside down now. So, we'll try that. We'll try printing something upside down. I'll try and finagle this in a way that I can have it upside down. And we'll print something. Luke, congrats on your first print. Yeah, I'm actually really interested to see how Input Shaper works on RepRap firmware. Because, like, use whatever firmware you like. There are a lot of good points to using RepRap firmware. It's a single board solution. It's very simple, well documented. It's a well broken in firmware. It's not, you know, as homebrew as Clipper, right? Especially for like consumer prosumer type machines, right? Clipper is definitely a more hobby oriented firmware. So anyways, I'm really interested to see how it works out for them. Obviously their implementation is going to have to be a little bit different, but it will. I'm legit curious to see how it's going to be. So I don't know how to attach this. So I got this little itty bitty. I need a box. Ugh. Sparta 3D box to the rescue, just so I can lay it down because I got the door on. There we go. Okay, so I've got this little 5-volt fan, which plugs in there. So I need to mount this somewhere. Comes with screws, but I don't know where to put them. Oh, you know what? Oh, you know what? I know what I'm gonna do. Oh, wait, no, those are M2s. Shoot. I'm like, wait a minute, I got standoffs. I got M3 standoffs, but I don't have... wait. I'm a genius. Is that an M3? Will an M3 fit through there? It will. Okay. Where do I have them? Where do I have them? Oh, I know I have you somewhere. Yeah, that'll work. Haha. That isn't gonna fit. I need a smaller one. Shoot. Brad, thank you for becoming a member. So yeah, so I'm using a standoff to bump that up. But I need a shorter standoff. Do I have a shorter standoff? I don't have a shorter standoff. I got these really long ones and short ones. But I can double up short ones. Because that's how we roll sometimes. Nathan, NT150. Thank you. I don't know how much that is, but thank you very much. Appreciate it. There's ad now. Yes. You have no idea how funny it is having people go, oh my God, you have ads on your video. I'm so happy. I'm sure YouTube's all happy too, because now they're actually making money off of me. So I'll talk about that in a minute, because I'm sure a lot of people have questions about like...
First time feeling glad to see ads on YouTube.
So I'm sure a lot of people are like, what the heck was going on with all that? And for those that don't know, my YouTube channel was broken for years, it turns out. Yeah. It's not even an M3. Okay. Short M3s. Where did I put it? Yeah, it was not fun dealing with having to deal with that. But fun fact, TLDR, my channel was broken. So when I applied for the YouTube partner program, at the time, there was a bug in the system where channels that were created within a certain period were kind of broken. It had to do with server mitigation or migration or something. But long story short, when I applied to get monetized, my channel didn't get properly monetized. So there we go. So that should blow on everything there. And then I can put the panel back on. So see, now I have a fan. Let me give it a little bit of juice. Make sure it turns on. Because it is, what is it? It's 5 volt ground, right? RPI pin out. Make sure I got this right. 5 volt ground. Yeah, so I got 5 volt and ground. Okay. So we're good there. Give it a little juice. Take my... There we go. We are good. I put the panel back on. And then we got to figure out how to put this guy upside down. So yeah, so I applied for the program. Obviously my channel was somewhat monetized because you guys were able to become channel members. I received donations. But ads never played on my videos. And so like within a couple months of me applying to the program, so this is like summer last year, I contact YouTube because they have like a chat you can contact them through. And I'm like, oi, what's going on? I'm not seeing ads on my videos. I'm not getting any ad revenue at all, not a penny. And I'm like, I know I'm not, you know, I ain't no Mr. Beast, but I should be at least seeing something. And they straight up told me there was nothing wrong. The way the algorithm works, not all videos get ads, which is true. Not all videos get ads on it. So the way ads work on YouTube, companies buy blocks of ads. So Coca-Cola goes to YouTube and goes, we want to put ads on videos with this criteria, this many total views, this many views per hour in these categories, and yada, yada, yada. So they gave me the impression that my channel did not meet some hidden requirement to get ads. They're basically telling me that like my views per hour, per video, per criteria didn't, which if you look at my channel, I'm at 2.25 million views, 18,000 subscribers, but my most viewed video is only like 80,000 views. I have a lot of videos that just get a couple hundred views a day and it just adds up. So that kind of made sense to me. I don't play YouTube, right? So I'm like, okay, whatever. That was like last summer, and I've asked like several times over the months. And then finally, like a month ago, they're like, oh, no, your channel's broken. Quit the program, start over. And I'm like, what? Because I honestly didn't want to quit the program. So apparently, and this is after finally getting everything figured out, speaking to people at YouTube, what ended up happening was my channel was flagged incorrectly because during the mitigation, during some data center mitigation or migration or whatever, if you applied to the partnership program during a certain period and your channel was a certain age, you fell into like a broken category where you just, ads were never flagged to show up on your channel because your channel was created before ads were even a thing on YouTube, right? My channel's from 2006, from when YouTube was YouTube and you could rate things 5 stars, pre-Google YouTube. So it was broken. And the easiest way to fix it was to quit the program and start over. Because if you reapply to the program, they had since fixed that bug. So if you applied now, it wouldn't affect you. But in my case, I'd be screwed because I would lose everyone who was a channel member. So anyone who's a channel member right now, you wouldn't be a channel member. So I would have to like have a stream and be like, hey guys, everyone who was a channel member, you want to sign back up? I'm sure a lot of people would, but it would take months for it to get back to where it was. And yeah, it wasn't fun. So eventually, I made enough noise and I got a hold of the right people at Google, who were able to fix it correctly. And by fix it correctly, somebody who's like who actually can just go into the data center just went in and went enable ads. And that was pretty much it. They just had to manually do it. But yeah. So that's the story of how I lost out on a year of ad revenue. And a lot of people, and I got a lot of people messaging because I put the video out, I did the tweet and whatnot. A lot of people were saying, one, oh, ad revenue isn't worth it. There's no money in ad revenue. You're wasting your time. Why bother? Don't bother, right? A lot of people were saying that to me. Two things. One, even if it wasn't a lot of money, I'm losing out on all potential future ad revenue. If my channel suddenly blows up and I have 500,000 viewers or subscribers, I'm still gonna be losing ad revenue then. And then fixing the problem could potentially be a bigger, would be a bigger detriment then. Two, I'm not gonna go into numbers, but I lost out on several $1,000s. It's hard to actually estimate how much ad revenue you make because ads pay differently. And you can't really say you get X amount per ad because the numbers, it isn't a fixed number. It really depends because some videos will get ads that pay more than others. It's a big unknown, right? But just from the few days that it's been fixed and kind of doing some napkin math, I've lost out on a few thousand. So potentially, but it's hard to say. David's here. Everyone say hi, David. Oh, and everyone who's a YouTube Premium member, if you're YouTube Premium and you watch a video, the person, like the video you watch, that creator gets a direct cut from YouTube Premium. It actually pays more than ad revenue per view. I wasn't getting that either. Yeah, we're gonna try printing upside down. It's gonna be fun. So yeah, so long story short, it's all fixed now. YouTube actually sent me a apology. I got an email apology from a CSM or customer service manager or whatever, saying yes, we goofed up. We're actually doing an internal investigation to figure out what happened because here's the thing. I understand it broke. I used to be an insurance broker. I worked with computer databases and whatnot. Stuff breaks. Stuff happens, okay? That's a fact of life. However, it's how you resolve that matters, right? Telling somebody it's not broken for like a year and then finally them figuring out it's broken, not how you do it. So yeah. And then also, what a lot of people don't know is that monetized videos, like videos that have ads in it, get promoted by the YouTube algorithm more. So I see it in my videos where when I put a video out, I get a lot of views in that first day from Sean Clark, $100. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Here's the ad revenue since I use an ad blocker. Honestly, I do too. I'm sure most of you do because this is kind of more of a tech channel. But thank you. You made me lose my train of thought. Oh yeah, promotion. So YouTube's algorithm promotes channels that have ads on it more than others. So if I look at my history of videos, a lot of my videos get a lot of views in the 1 or 2 days after I release it, the day of or the next day, and it's pretty much all subscribers. I don't really get a lot of outside my bubble views. And then after a couple days, my videos, the chart just flattens right out. It's just the way it works. Why aren't you connect to Yukon? Okay. So yeah. So it's all fixed now, luckily. Going forward, you guys will see ads on my videos, but that's like every other. Here's the thing too. Even if the channel's not monetized, there's ads now. Like YouTube will throw ads on anything. So the fact that there was no ads on my videos at all, even YouTube was losing money on me. So I'm surprised they didn't want to fix it right away. Chris, $10. Train of thought derailed. Exactly. Don't I have a long tail? Yes and no. I get a lot of people who watch a lot of the tutorial videos, but you can tell it's closed audience. My videos don't really have legs. Like, let's see here. No, don't. See, I can't bring up the whole thing. So like right now, so you can see my channel's from April 2006. 2.34 million views. If you go to my videos, most popular, 80,000, 60,000, 51,000. Like, for 2 million views, I don't have any video that's ever blown up. It's just a lot of consistent.
Temperature underscore sensor raspberry underscore pi sensor underscore type. Temperature underscore hostman underscore temp. 10 max underscore temp. 100.
Oh, Norbert, thank you. Appreciate that. That's the to turn that warning off. Although right now I'm trying to figure out why it isn't connecting. Come on, Yukon, connect. So yeah, so it is what it is. It's all fixed now. So hopefully going forward, it should be working properly. It is showing I'm getting ad revenue. I have to wait till the end of next month for it to pay out to actually make sure everything's working. Because apparently that's another thing where you can earn ad revenue and YouTube just decides not to pay you on it. But since they're already paying me for the other stuff, I'm sure it's working. I'm hoping it's working. So yeah. Can always do premieres. Yeah, I should do premieres more. I don't play the YouTube game well. Like, if you look at my videos, I don't play the have a giant, have my face in them. Like, look at my thumbnails. They are not, newest. Like, they're very just, hey, this is what I'm talking about. Here's a random picture. Like, I don't play, I do have pictures of me with my face in some of them. But yeah, I don't play the YouTube game well. I don't have like, I don't do clickbaity, why aren't you connecting to the Wi-Fi? I don't do the clickbaity titles often. So yeah. Why don't you want to connect to the Wi-Fi printer? At least time I didn't break something. All I did was plug a fan in. Why don't you want to connect to Wi-Fi now? Okay, flash, flash. Flash. Now you're lighting up. Do the thing. Do the thing. Come on, you can do the thing. I don't think the SD card is bad. It's a brand new install. It should be fine. Yeah, it's showing it's connected. Where is... Oh, Yukon. Yeah, it's connected. Oh, there we go. Okay. There we go. Connected. Apparently it doesn't want to connect when it's upside down. So it's going upside down now. So yeah, so tonight we're going to do some upside down printing. Because, why not? Let's have some fun. I don't know how well Input Shaper Tune handles upside down printing though, guys. So, I showed you my Wi-Fi router. Please respond. How much current can the buck converter give? It is a 5 amp buck converter. So it's a 5 volt 10 amp buck converter. So it's got plenty of beef. What should we print? What should we try printing upside down? What is something with a lot of overhangs? I want to try something with a lot of overhangs. Actually, let's make sure we can home. Home, all. Well, I'm worried I'm going to have a issue with the bed level because it is a cantilever bed. So there is play into it, but gravity takes some of it out all the time. So obviously, instead of it sagging down slightly, it's going to sag the other way. So I'm probably going to have to live adjust C. So yeah, let's find a dragon or something. Here, let's try this little guy. We'll do this little guy. Yeah. Okay, V0, discard. V0 PLA, discard. Somebody's sending me thing 45. Oh, okay, let's see what that is. Oh god, I'm not printing the Ding Ding Benchy. Trogdor. Is there a Trogdor 3D model? I don't think that is, that is a horrible 3D model of a Trogdor. That is embarrassing. I am not printing that. See, I'd print the Lola, but the Lola needs a lot of support. Like, I did it on the resin machine for a reason. So, let's get some filament. What do I got for Pla? You know what? I really like this, orange. The printed solid orange. So, David, I'm using your stuff again. Because I like it. Oh, and by the way, it is, I'm hearing thunder like crazy right now. So, if I suddenly disappear, it's probably just, you know, a storm, so yeah. If I suddenly go offline, thunderstorm. The Dr. AE, do I have a Dr. AE model? Like, I will admit, the Dr. AE is a nice like, I have them somewhere. No, I only have the one UPS and a V226 gets it. Ooh. A dapper fucktopus? Or go fucktopus or whatever it's called. Yeah, it's got a hat. Let's try that. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I have so many Thangs models from Chaos Core Tech. But you know what? Let's have some fun. Let's go with this guy. Download all. But yeah, I don't have enough routers or UPSs in here. So unfortunately, if the power goes out, the power goes out. So slice now. Bed 60. me drop the bed. Let me raise the bed. And get some plastic flowing here. This is going to be interesting. Motors off. Oh, this is so awkward loading. I should have loaded this right side up. Oh, this is going to be awkward. What UPS? It's a CyberPower 1000 VA. But it's only plugged into V226. If I try running it with two printers, when both beds are running at the same time, it likes to squeal, and it's annoying. Okay, so let's extrude. Okay, this is gonna be fun. Let's extrude 20 millimeters of plastic. Okay, so we're good there. It's a good thing I got the sock. So let's let the bed heat up. How are we gonna film this? Oh my god. So I'm gonna have to find a flashlight. Oh, there goes a lot of bits. There you go. That'll work. Yeah, this is what we're doing, guys. Need solar with Powerwall and all. Oh, I would love to have a whole solar setup and whatnot. But where I live, doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, my house does face north-south, so I would be able to panel my roof, but there's no government incentives right now in my province, so it cost me a ton of money, and I pretty much would only make it back at the very end of the life. Read the bottom of the octopi file. What do you mean, read the bottom of the octopi file? Vincent, not much. Same old, same old. This is a 45-minute print, apparently. Yes, the analytics are rolling in, so it is. I am making money on videos. At least YouTube's showing me that. Yeah, sunny Windsor, Ontario, the thunderstorm capital of Canada. Upload and print. Oh, I gotta save this. Read under the octopi. Oh. Oh God. Okay, I'm not gonna show that on stream. Save, upload, and print. So obviously we're probably going to have a little bit of issues with the first layer, because the first layer, the bed is trammed out for it like this, and now gravity's like this. So I'm going to be hanging my finger over the Live Adjust Z button, or the Joseph Prusa button. Yeah. Is it possible to use Clipper printer from a USB cable connected to a PC? Technically you can. Anything running Linux, you could run Clipper on. The thing is though, it's not worth it for two reasons. One, cost. You need to basically have your computer running that slave directly to the printer. And two, power. Raspberry Pi doesn't use a lot of power, a computer does. So you're gonna end up spending quite a bit of money in electricity in the long run. It's just easier to use a Raspberry Pi. But yes, you technically can. Voron versus Rat Rig. Well, I only have Vorons. I've never used a Rat Rig. Rat Rig's a modern Core XY printer. It's probably fine. Personally, I think 500 millimeters is too big for Core XY. And how high temp do you want? Because this little guy will get to 60 if you seal it up properly. Is the print quality the same from a Voron Dragon? Oh, so if you're talking about the hot end's the same. It's just a different mount, basically. The only thing different on here versus a normal Dragon is the actual red part. The fins are just kind of cut differently to give it a cooler appearance, basically. I should be watching this. Okay, so I'm gonna have to. Well, it's printing. Oh. Oh, okay, move up. Oh, that first layer is buried into the bed. Oh well. That first layer is going to get really close to the bed. Ooh. Yeah, 1 second here. Properties. There we go. All fixed. Yeah, it's really embedding into that textured PI. But it's working. I just got to keep an eye on the books to make sure everything doesn't fall off. Yeah, this is totally happening right now. The text is backwards because I only inverted it in the one direction. Let's not get crazy and invert it in two directions. Fix what? Fix it? Okay, I'll fix it. I'll see if I can fix it at least. Properties. Flip vertically. I can only flip vertically. I can't flip horizontally. I'm sorry, I can't flip horizontally. I can only flip vertically. It doesn't allow me. Special no-nos for using Cure with Clipper? I don't believe so. I personally like Super Slicer. That's what I've been using. Oh, severe thunderstorm warning issued. So. You want me to, what do you mean physically move the camera around to match? Yeah, it's a Narov 10 printer. Okay, let's... Here, I'll at least try and get the focus better. Camera control, focus. There we go. How long do heater carts typically last? It's hit and miss. It's made in China, mass produced, who knows? What's the current print speeds? I just sliced it on the profile I already had. There's the speeds. So if you're curious about the speeds and feeds, they are right there. Right there. It's not an issue of frame, it's an issue of belting. Trying to keep belts, because every time you go up in size on Core XY, remember your belts are getting longer in the X and Y, depending on the belt run. So it's just keeping those belts properly tensioned over those lengths can be a bit of a pain. It just requires a lot more tuning and is more prone to issues like ringing whatnot at higher speeds because there's a lot more bounce in the belts at that point. So. No, it's a special octopus. What is Super Slicer? So if Prusa Slicer is a better version of Slicer than, or Slick 3R, then Super Slicer is a better version of Prusa Slicer. It's Prusa Slicer without any training wheels. So it opens up a lot more options. Show the video of the V0 slow-mo of that belt. I don't have that video on hand. Yeah, that's another thing. Super Slicer does some things that I like a lot better. Prusa Slicer automatically makes the first layer of a bridge thicker than the rest. I don't like that. I like, you know, if I tell it to do 0.2 layers, it do 0.2 layers. Have I ever swapped the main 2020 extrusion? I have not, and I personally don't see a reason to on any of my machines for what I do with my printers. You want to run your printer on a location where you cannot add it to the network. Oh, because here's the thing, to get, like, you have to, with Clipper, you have to add files to it over the network to print usually. I don't think you can just plug in a file, and I've never run Clipper on a desktop, so I don't know how the environment works at that point. If you can, like, run it. I don't think you can run it like you can Prontoface, for example, or it's just a program on the computer. It has to be, like, the main thing running. Because the way Clipper works, it's very, very, very critical with timings when it's communicating with the MCU. So if something gets goofed up with timing, so say you're running it on your computer and you decide to open a program or render a file or something and it lags your CPU for a minute there, Clipper does not like that at all. So I've already uploaded the G codes to Clipper. Then you should be you could just run it with the Raspberry Pi and just have a screen. So you can just select the files on the screen and print from that. Like, personally, I don't run any of my printers. I don't run most of my printers with screens. Like, this one's headless. Like, there ain't no screen on me here. But that's just because I have a computer right here. And I could use my phone too if I need to. My feet are nice and warm now. Why did you not connect? Yes, this is me. No, there we go. When would someone need to water cool hot end? If you're printing in an oven. For pretty much the vast majority of people who print at home, water cooling is honestly a waste. Most modern new hot ends are much better at fighting heat creep with just air cooling. So get something with a very good heat break in it, like a bimetallic heat break, and get a good fan and you're fine. Like, I know people printing in Borons with like 70°C chamber temps that are printing just fine with no issues with the stock afterburner and a stock fan. Yeah, like, here's the thing. Marlin, once it's running, isn't that bad. It's the whole back end of having to compile to change a lot of things constantly and reflash. That gets really annoying really quick. Prusa Mini or Voron 0.1 kit from AliExpress. I haven't used any of the AliExpress Voron kits. This is an LVO kit right here. It's about 650 US. It depends on what you want to do. If you just want a printer that you just want to buy and print and you don't want to tune or tweak, go with the Prusa Mini. If you want to have fun building a printer from scratch, the V0. Now, the V0 has a smaller print volume. The Prusa Minis, I believe, 180 millimeters cubed. This is only 120. So 120 does limit you quite a bit in terms of what you want to print. 180 is a lot more forgiving. So it really depends on what you're looking for in the printer itself and what you want to do with it. Because again, 120 is pretty small. Peter, the reason it's on the front is simply for, or on the top, I don't know, it's upside down. The reason it's on the top is just for size. If we were to have it on the front, it would push everything to the front and we would lose print volume. You can mount it pretty much however you want to, in terms of how it will function. It doesn't really affect it too much in a 3D printing application because there's not too many loads on it really. And it's a continuous load. It's not like you're cutting or there's different loads on a tool head. It's always pretty much a continuous load. So it's on the top just for more room. Nimgria, $5. V0 1200 by April 22. Oh, easily. Oh, easily. A year from now? What are we at right now for cereals? I spelled cereals wrong. So right now we are at 609 V0s that have been serialed. Another, by April. April might be cutting it. We might hit 1,000 by April. On the Exoslide, I've never used an Exoslide. I've never had my hands on one. I have to Google it to take a look at it. Okay, so it's... Here's the thing. I'm not a huge fan of using aluminum extrusions as the basis for your motion system, because aluminum extrusions are not reliably flat and true and untwisted. We have the Voron guys, we have seen a lot of twisted extrusions where the aluminum extrusion is twisted. It happens. Aluminum extrusions are not meant to be a precision guidance thing. They're frames. They're meant for like frames and whatnot. So using an aluminum extrusion as your drive system, as the basis of your motion platform, it makes sense for something like an Ender 3 where it's cheap. But how expensive are these exo slides? So $8 per. Is that by itself? Oh, you need different sides, right? So you need one on the front, one on the back. So you're looking at $14. You could buy AliExpress linear rails for that cheap. So, and they're bulky. They're bulky looking. Printed. Honestly, the Prusa Mini right now is pretty much the only Prusa I directly recommend. The Mark III, I think, is getting a little too old for me and too costly for what it is to recommend. The Viper, the Anycubic Viper, seems attractive, although apparently the production models aren't as good as the streamer or the content creator pre-production models that some people got. The Lulz bot, if you like burning money and still getting a V-wheel thing with like tech from 2017. Yeah, and it's still 8-bit. I don't know. I don't get what Lulzbot's doing. I've had like people DM me. It's like, you have to support them. They're made in America. I'm like, I'm not even American. So that argument means nothing to me. So their like base model of the big one is like $1,200 to get it moving. I'm pretty sure Joel has a video on his channel about the Anycubic Viper. He liked it a lot, although apparently the production models aren't as good QC-wise. Go back to the print. Hey, it's printing upside down. And no, it hasn't layer shifted. That's just the first layer is all bulged to hell. Thomas, thank you for becoming a member. Okay, so with chamber heaters, Andrew, I won't be doing anything on chamber heaters because I think for home gamers, for the most part, they're unsafe and not really required. With Vorons, like, chamber heater discussion is straight up prohibited on the Voron Discord for safety reasons. The printer itself, this guy right here, gets over 50. And I don't even have gaskets on it. My V1 here, Toasty, with ACM panels is sitting around 55, 60 without a chamber heater. If you need higher temperatures than that, you should be getting a commercial printer, or at least using a design meant for high temperature printing. Because the problem is a lot of home-built printers can't take those temperatures. So, especially when you're using printed parts in the construction. Actually, did I have a layer shift? I don't know if I had a layer shift there, or if there's just an under extruded layer there. I think it's an under extruded layer. Oh well. Yeah, Raymond's reaches 60. Like mine was just, I was measuring the temperature of the hot end. Like I just didn't turn the hot end on and turn the bed to 100 and let it cook for an hour. And I got 55. So. The scans, so it could be your probe isn't that accurate. It could be a number of things. It could be, it's hard to say. But basically, depending on how the probe is mounted, there's always a chance that it could be angled, especially if you have like a twisted extrusion. There's a few, it's hard to say. But if you don't use a bed mesh and it's good, just don't use the bed mesh. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Lulzbot charges $100 for a $15 12864 graphical display. You gotta make the money there. Don't use steel bed. Steel bed is not good. You want the cast aluminum. What are we gonna drink tonight, guys? Because tonight's just a print and chill night. Printer's doing its thing. Who's down for some 40 crick? Copper Pot Reserve. Beverage of choice tonight. 40 Creek, Copper Pot. Water. I got water here. Shop LTT, right, guys? Shop LTT in my water bottle. Ooh. Okay, I really do apologize if I suddenly cut out. If you see me cut out, just sit tight because the power went out, and if the power comes back on, I'll hopefully get back into the stream. The easiest way to read your chamber temperatures is to your hot end. Put your hot end in the middle of the bed, 100 millimeters or so off the bed itself. So X, Y centered, and then 100 millimeters off the bed. Don't turn the hot end on, and just set your bed to 100 degrees Celsius or whatever, and let it sit for an hour. And then whatever your hot end temperature reads, that's roughly what the chamber is, roughly. Because the hot end will heat up to air temperature eventually, right? Oh yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, they try to get the cost down by saying, oh, you can buy the tool head separate to save money, but it's aimed at new users. That was funny. Remember, Lulzbot now is not the Lulzbot from the original days. Like, the company is pretty much Lulzbot in name only right now, from my understanding. So. Currently printing my Voron parts on my Genius, just switched to ABS Plus. Never knew it could stick to the bed so well. It would bend the flex plate instead of the parts lifting it. Well, then you need a better magnet. Measure the temperature of my house with the hot end. Oh, hey, that works. So, like, right now, how warm is it in my basement? Let's see. In my basement right now, it is 23 degrees Celsius. Yes, you can use ASA instead of ABS. ASA is, for the most part, ABS, just formulated slightly differently, so it has UV resistance. Functionally, they are about 95%, 99% the same for the most part. You're most likely not going to notice any difference. The only thing is, ASA is a little bit more brittle, we've seen. It is a little bit stiffer. That could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Just hopefully don't crash your gantry too much. I've never printed upside down. Like, it makes sense that it would work just fine, but... What we'll do is we'll print this twice. I'll flip it over and print it right side up after. Also, it's going to be a little bit hotter right now, too, because, like, all the heat is, like, trapped. And by the way, for those curious, the belts on Toasty are still tight. So, CFPC is the way to go. Do not use CF nylon. Andrew, $22.99 Aussie. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for all that info. Here's $20 to support you. Keep up the great content. Thank you. Appreciate it. I am glad this is all helping you. Why do it? Lights dimmed for a second. Thoughts on umbilical tool heads? I like PCB tool heads. I don't have any. I'm waiting for them to become more fleshed out and finalized. Also, I just rewired two of my printers with some pretty pricey full-on wire runs. So I don't think I'll modify any of my existing setups to a tool head board, but going forward, future builds maybe. The only problem, Arlo, with polycarbonate, you just have to be careful. It is trickier to print too, but it is not that great when it comes to dealing with greases and oils. We've seen issues where it's like delaminated and whatnot. Like oils cause it to break down. Grease too, so. I have not insulated any of the beds on any of my Vorons. They're all just sitting there with the heater just sitting on the bottom. Because here's the thing, if it radiates heat out, it's just going to radiate into the chamber, which I want to get chamber heat. I know it's actually a thing now where people are putting fans under their beds to get a convection current going to actually heat their chambers more evenly. And I think I'm going to do that on, I'm going to try and figure out a way to do it on Toasty. What I'm going to do is I might try and design something where I have like fans on one side blowing air up, with a being fed from a duct sucking air down from the other side, so I can get like a convection current going to see if I can heat the chamber more efficiently. That is an upcoming project I want to do with Toasty. Have I ever printed Peak? No. Why would I need to print Peak? I can think of better things to spend $400 on. You can almost buy a V0 for a roll of Peak. Richard, I have seen the beds that are like custom designed. Personally, like all my beds are 5/16 thick, except for actually Tall Boy's bed's only quarter inch. Because that one's an older bed that I reused. But I haven't had any issues because I honestly, I normally don't print right at the very edge of the bed for one. And two, a 5/16 slab of aluminum extrusion in a sealed chamber with no air moving around. I'm not concerned about a couple degrees temperature drops at the edge, usually. So, but there definitely is a point of getting a better bed. More coverage does help if you print like full-size beds. But I've never really found I've never run into issues with my current setup, put it that way. Exactly, like, what is Peak used for outside of 3D printing? Derek, $10. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Is it possible to retrofit the mini afterburner onto other non-Voron printers? You could. The CAD is out there. You would just have to make a mount for it. And this little guy would probably be really awesome on an IDEX because it's really compact. But yeah. And thanks. Yeah, I'm really happy the YouTube thing's fixed. Yeah, NASA. Let's go see if the doggy's here.
Is it possible to retrofit the mini afterburner onto other non-Voron printers?
Come on.
Congrats on getting your situation fixed with YT.
Oh, doggo. Blurry doggo. Blurry upside down doggo. Oh, doggo boy. Oh, doggo boy. Hey. There you go. Where's Duff at? I haven't seen Duff in a while. Yeah. You good boy? You being good? You behaving upstairs? You scared of the thunder? Kisses? Good boy. Okay. Doggo. Duff 699 doggo.
Doggo.
You can try YouTube. Oh yeah, apparently, I didn't. This is like the Twitch Prime thing that all the Twitch streamers say. Apparently, if you have YouTube Premium, you get to give out free memberships. So, YouTube Red or YouTube Premium or what? I don't know. Like Twitch Prime is catchier, but I don't do Twitch, so. Slega. I would go with ASA first. Maybe try some Prusa PC for things like the fan ducts and that kind of thing. But yeah. Vince, thank you for coming a member. The camera's upside down because the printer's upside down. And at least this way you don't get a headache. Camera's right side up. I just inverted it so it doesn't tweak your brain watching it print upside down. Can I elaborate? Exactly, Matt. So what you can do, go on my channel, check the playlist for, I think, Clipper. I have it in there. There's a video on how to hook a Raspberry Pi Zero up to your printer without using the buck converter. Because the Raspberry Pi uses so little power, most modern boards like the SKR can output enough 5-volt juice to power it. As for the downsides, it's a Raspberry Pi Zero, so functionally your printer will be just fine. It's just you probably won't be able to run a webcam because the Raspberry Pi has issues with webcam. Yeah, let me try and even it up a bit. There you go. For Rails, personally, cheap CNA, want to spend a little bit more, go LDO. I've never used Robot Dig Rails. Oh, don't use PLA outside in the sun. Raymond, all my machines are CNA except for this guy and Toasty are CNA rails. I haven't had any issues, so. Technically, ABS is better than a blend. Like, pure ABS is technically better than ABS Plus. However, they are functionally so close, it's not that big of a difference in 90% of applications, including printer parts for your Voron. And ABS Plus prints easier, especially if you're like, you don't have a properly enclosed printer. The thing is, it's not as stiff as pure ABS. So it is ABS by itself is stiffer than ABS Plus, I found. So. Oh, you could have Pi Zero can do input shaper. It just sometimes it's a pain to get it installed on, I believe. Have I used Masumi extrusions? I have. So my first V0 was Masumi. The original frame for my switch wire was Masumi, and Tallboy is Masumi. So yeah, I've used Masumi. They're good extrusions. If you need a small printer to print things fast, a V0 is a good printer for that. Again, it is a hobby machine though, so if it's for personal use, that's fine, but again, it's a hobby machine if you're thinking about getting it for something like work. So, Justin 3D. Yes, I did get the ads figured out. So, yes, hopefully you guys are seeing glorious, glorious ads. Will car makers replace ABS? Okay, so this comes up a lot because a lot of people want to save whales, and I'm all for whales. Okay, I really like Star Trek 3. Or was that 4? Star Trek 4. That one was close. I'm hearing him through the noise canceling headphones. Okay, ABS and its blends. Oh wow, the camera actually flashed. I'm watching the playback because there's a delay on my monitor here. So my camera cut out for a second there during that one. Ooh, yeah. Screen flash, yeah. I am getting YouTube Red Premium. Yes, I am. ABS is very common in automotive. Also, ABS blends. ABS PC is very common. PC ABS. You see a lot of glass-filled nylons, glass-filled polypros for like stuff like engine bay compartment and whatnot. Some flexibles like flexible vinyl for like windows and whatnot. Polypro by itself, TPO is common. Polypropylene. You don't see PLA, okay? We have a tool in our shop. It's some university is running the tool at our shop. Like they're working on bioplastics, okay? And it's a Timmy's cup lid mold, okay? It's a coffee cup lid, and it also a bottle lid, okay? That's what this mold is for. And every couple of months, they show up at our shop and they try their brand new engineered plastics that are bio and meant to save whales and whatnot. And every time, the plastics are horrible because it's like cleaners, right? The best cleaners are the ones that give you cancer. It's like weed killer. The best weed killers are the ones that give you cancer. The best plastics are not the good plastics that save the whales and don't make any pollution. And they're the best. So if we switch to something else, right now, there really isn't anything better. Especially on the save the planet front. Most of the stuff is a major step down. The PLA, like their first plastic they showed up, the temperatures that you have to shoot it at are so low the machines have issues with it. Like they're not meant to run that low. And you grab the coffee cup and it just shatters in your hand because it's brittle. And it's like, you can't, and then you put it on a coffee and it melts. So. PLA is good for stuff like this. PLA is great. Well, actually, PETG is better for vases because it seals really good. But PLA is good for stuff that looks really good and sits on your desk. But there's no parts in your car that are PLA. So, I do love whenever a 3D printer type person says, ABS is obsolete. You know, it's the most commonly used plastic in the world for a reason. High impact polystyrene. Yeah, I do have hips. I printed that bunny mask there. This Yeah, this is Hips. I printed this in Hips and Tallboy. It's a splicer mask from Bioshock. So this was printed in Hips, and for props, Hips is really nice. You can sand it. It's very light and it's very stiff, and you can sand it and finish it really good. So for like prop makers and whatnot, and the cosplay people, Hips is actually pretty good for that, apparently. Yeah. So I do like Hips, I just don't use it. So ABS or ABS Plus? ABS if you can print it, if not ABS Plus. eSun ABS Plus is printing ABS with training wheels, and it's so easy, you can do it on an Ender 3 in a cardboard box. But now that, you know, with my Vorons, I print normally just ABS. So I have a lot of Sparta 3D, KVP, and a few other brands. Yep, FWIFO, exactly. So PLA is a very stiff plastic, but so many people look at plastics as like, you look at it, it's like, oh, it's stiffer, it's better. Well, the problem is, oh, on a V2 gantry, you need to be able to twist it slightly, and you don't want stiff there. Like, it's stiff to a point. You want a certain amount of stiffness, but you also want a certain amount of flex. You want it to be able to flex and return back to its original shape, right? There's malleability, there's flexibility, there's ductility, there's stiffness, there's rigidity, there's multiple different mechanical properties to an object or to a material, not just one. The problem is everyone looks at one usually, and once you factor in everything else, it's like, well, this isn't the best at it. However, because of all its other properties, it makes it the best. So that's why ABS is pretty good for printer parts, because yes, it's not as stiff as other plastics. However, it's got good ductility, it's got good rigidity, it's got good enough, you know, its heat resistance is good. It's good enough in enough criteria that it kind of makes up for not being the best in one criteria. So I'm interested to see how this top hat prints out. Oh yeah, PLA is horrible for deburring. I know, I've tried that. It really depends on you. Remember, it all comes down to what you plan on doing, okay? If you just want to print a little a mount for your headphones that sits on the side of your computer stand or computer desk, PLA is fine for that, right? Like, you don't need to go with engineering grade polycarbonate glass filled plastic, right? It's a headphone stand. But, you know, a phone stand in your car, you might want to use something like ABS or, you know, a higher temperature plastic. It comes down to what you're using your printer for. Print with what you intend to use it with. I just print a lot of ABS because I have a ton of it. Yes, actually, Benegal, I would argue it smells more like popcorn, but... can I provide a site or brand for a good heated unwarped bed for Creality? I cannot, because I've never looked into that. I have one Creality printer. It is my Ender 3, and I just slapped a PI flex plate on it. Are ABS fumes actually that dangerous? If you've ever burnt bacon, you've been exposed to more VOCs than being next to a printer for a little bit printing ABS. Yes, ABS does off gas. So does every car tailpipe. So does the carpet in your house. So does burning bacon. So do a million other things that off gas. It's about exposure amounts and the amount that you're going to be exposed to being in a room while printing a couple grams of filament an hour of ABS. If you did it all day, every day for your entire life, you might have a higher risk, but don't sit next to your printer while you're printing, and don't stick your head in your printer while you're printing. Do what I do. Close your printers up. when you're done printing, let the chamber temperatures drop back to room temperature. This will cause all this stuff that's floating in the air to basically cool off and settle on the walls, and then open it up. Because it's an oily residue, and you can enclose that. Bad ABS stinks, though. And if it stinks and it gives you headaches, that's a smell thing, and I don't smell ABS anymore. I work in a tool shop with a 3,000, well, we now have a 4,000 ton injection press that shoots several hundred pounds of ABS an hour, pumping out a 12-pound front fascia every minute and a half. And this is in an enclosed tool shop with no ventilation. And our air is fine to breathe, according to the government. So take that as you will. Have I tried the Artillery Genius? I have not. I don't have any artillery printers. Again, I have the Ender 3. I tried a JG Aurora A5S, which is too old, don't buy it. Ender 3 V2 is a good printer. And then I have a JG Maker Artist D Pro IDEX sitting in a box that I'm going to actually put together tomorrow. So. Probably not fine in California. Nothing's fine in California. How do you stick PC? Oh. PC, I printed right on the PEI and it came off just fine. For nylon, I use a glue stick on top of the PEI. What do I recommend for an education printer? Like, are you talking about something to learn on for personal or something for like a classroom? If it's something to learn on, get something like an Ender 3 V2 or other cheap entry-level printer that's good enough, but with room to upgrade and tinker with. If it's like school, get something with warranty and support and UL certification and all that jazz. So something like a Prusa Mini. So. Well, on the bright side, it's his little top hat, the brim didn't droop down, it drooped up, which will make it look a little bit dapper, I believe. So how far is the V01 kit? Such a person. I did a video on my channel, actually I put it out today, talking about the kit, and honestly the LDO kit is probably the best kit I've ever seen for a Voron. It's the only one I would happily say, go ahead and buy it. All the other kits, one, I haven't touched them, so I can't make a comment on it. And two, the problem is they're off AliExpress and there's really no guarantees. That's the only reason, like, they are getting better. The AliExpress kits are getting better. The very first, like, you have to understand the reason the Voron team is has been against AliExpress kits. It's when they first came out, they came with V-slot rails or V-slot extrusions, which don't work for most Vorons because MGM9 rails will not sit in it. So they came with like V-slot rails. They came with mix and match motors. They came with the original, I think it was the Blue Rolls V0 kits, came with motors that were so under spec you could only do about half the speeds. Sketchy bed heaters, really not flat beds at all. We're talking out like half a mil. The very first kits that we saw were horrible. They are getting better, but then the LDO kit is just a complete step above everything else. That's the only one that I personally, again, the Voron team doesn't recommend any. I personally have no problem recommending the LDO kit. So, BV3D, hello. I think I saw you pop in. Hi. Hi. It's going good. We're printing an octopus that's waving at people upside down. Because why not? Somebody told me I should print upside down, so I'm trying that. Deltas. Personally, I think deltas are a little outdated now, or more niche than ever. However, I would like one. I just can't see the justification for getting one nowadays. Have you tried the Big Tree Tech SB? I have not tried the closed loop stepper. Personally, I think you really shouldn't need a closed loop stepper on a 3D printer if it's tuned properly. I can't remember the last time I had a layer shift. So, Plus, they're loud. They don't have a lot of the quiet features like the TMCs have. No, it's not a rocktopus. It's another type of waving. But he has a top hat. Steel for stainless. The stainless won't rust on you. It's a 3D printer, so you really shouldn't be maxing out the load capability of any screws. But good, if you can get good steel, like from like a reputable vendor like Fastenal, that's fine. Otherwise, stainless. Build a rotary delta. Here's the thing with printers. Deltas fall into the same kind of category as like the V2, where having a stationary bed could be a big advantage depending on what you print. So for example, if you do a lot of cosplay, right? You do a lot of, like, let me grab it here. You know, I already grabbed it. So this print right here, I printed this vertically like this, right? I had a little bit of support under here, in here, and then I had a tower of support come up for here. So this printed vertically. Having a fixed bed that doesn't move at all is amazing for these types of prints. Because if you were printing this on a bed flapper, it's going to be constantly doing this. And as you get near the top, right, every time you do a direction change, it's going to flop back and forth. And you're not going to get that nice, smooth, clean wall. So having a fixed bed of a Delta printer, or like my V2 with the moving gantry, or even just a traditional Core XY printer where your Z moves, that's a big bonus. So when you're looking at a printer, it depends what you're going to use the printer for. So a Delta would be good for something like this. The problem with Deltas is I'm really on the direct feed tool head bandwagon lately. And they're kind of hard to do on a Delta. And I think Core XYs have kind of supplemented Deltas for the fast printer with a fixed bed. You know, on most Core XYs it drops down, except for like the V2 with the flying gantry thing. So you can get fast, and then Deltas are really tall for their print volume, and also because it's a Delta and it's a circular bed, the accuracy of your printed part actually can shift depending on where it is in the bed. Because of the way the math works, the nozzle is can move more finely in the middle than like closest to each individual tower. So you actually lose dimensional accuracy on a Delta bed. Deltas were cool. I just think Core XYs do what they need to do better. So, have I dabbled in chopper tuning? I have no idea what that even is. There's no point in ever doing like a rep wrap DLP SLA, like a resin printer, because you can buy a $200 resin printer that'll do, you know, prints like this all day, every day for $200. You can't do that yourself. You can't build that yourself. Because with Voron, Voron is, it's not doing 2 money signs for 1 money sign. It's doing 3 money signs for 2 money signs. And you can't build a better one homebrew, and you can't build a cheaper one homebrew. So home resin is kind of like a very not practical market, I believe. Brian, so for the Core XY mechanism moving on the Z-axis, we just call it a flying gantry. So it's a Core XY. The actual XY motion system is a standard Core XY. It's just, it moves up and down. So we call it a flying gantry. Some people call it Core XYZ, which Core XYZ is a separate motion system. It's its own separate thing. But we just call it a flying gantry Core XY internally. That's what we refer to it as. Plus, a home SLS it's a fixed bed that moves up and down with a phone screen. Like there's no fun in that design. You can't really go crazy. The only crazy thing would be like the Prusa thing where it tips a bit. I've never built one of those cross XY printers. From what I've seen, those are pretty much like kind of like the same thing as like, it's basically you have 2 motors for the X and 2 motors for the Y. It's a little complicated. It's not as clean looking, and it does on paper, I believe, go faster than a Core XY, but it's more complicated. It takes up more room. You don't get as good of a printer to print volume ratio. It's more expensive. At the same speeds and feeds, on like normal speeds and feeds, I don't know if there would be any much of a difference, but on paper it does go faster. But again, depending on your plastic, you can't always go faster. If you're worried about better thermal properties, polycarbonates and nylons, some of the PA16 nylons are pretty good, and should be stiff enough. You can also get stuff with like carbon fiber and glass in it, like what I'm hoping to print on Toasty tonight, but unfortunately this isn't really. Yeah, it's still stiff as all heck. I'm gonna let this go all night, see if that helps. Well, Core XY, you're limited by the belt length, right? Core XY has long belts, so it's a simple lightweight setup. I run Z-Hop on pretty much all my printers, and I run it because I don't like the nozzle dragging across the print. Like, if you think about it in CNC terms, which I was a machinist before I did 3D printers, right? You don't drag your cutter across your material, right? So I'm of the opinion you shouldn't do that with your 3D printing nozzle. You shouldn't drag your nozzle across your print. One, it can leave defects, it can catch on stuff, it can build up gunk on the nozzle itself. So yes, I always run Z-Hop. I usually run about double layer height for the most part. And we're almost done. So what I'll do is after this print is done, I will flip the printer and we will we'll let it go again right side up and see what's different. What thing number? I didn't save it. Oh, hey, it's done. Let it cool for a minute. Well, somebody messaged me and was like, hey, you should print upside down. And since I really didn't have any other plans for the stream tonight, I figured, hey, why not? So, a little bit of stringing, but that's kind of almost to be expected. I will say though, this bed, this flex plate, is amazing. Like, stuff pops right off of this. Like, even though we smushed this into the bed hardcore, everything comes right off. And that's the included LDO flex plate that came with the kit. Yeah, this was upside down. We were printing upside down. Yes, I had to replace the nylon parts in Toasty. Right now they're CF polycarbonate, and everything is great. I'm loving it. Like, I'm having no issues with the parts so far. And the I didn't replace all my parts. I just replaced the parts that I consider like that would be at risk of failure due to the flexibility of the nylon. There we go. So let's heat the bed back up and print it again and see what we got differently. I have not printed the parts for the rabbit feeder. I probably will do that this week. This week was kind of a write-off. I had to do a bunch of stuff around the house, and then busy with work, and then with the whole YouTube stuff that like killed my whole last weekend and most of the early this week. So I'm gonna have to flip this camera. So we're gonna let the bed heat back up. Flip this camera back around. There we go. How many hours on the CFPC? I've only printed a couple things with it. Toasty is meant to be my... Hello? 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 Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Woo! Dude, the power was out for a good, like, minute, and then I lost all cell phone reception. Actually, I think I still don't have cell phone reception. Yeah, cell phone's down. I have no cell phone reception. Internet's back up. Internet, like, just kicked back in. Yeah. That was fun. I told you that might happen. I warned you. Let me catch up on chat. What was I talking about? Power went out. Yeah, power went out. Bye, Canada. What was the last post? I'm gonna have to go back and watch the replay. Fiber power. So Toasty is supposed to be... Okay, so Toasty... we gotta wait for this guy to heat back up now. Toasty is my nylons, polycarbonates, abrasives. It's got a nozzle X in there. It's my low volume, more demanding material printer. So if I need to print, you know, any of the exotic stuff, that way I can just do it right on Toasty. It's already set up for it, instead of like swapping out the nozzle on like V226 or any of my other printers. So this is like, this printer was never meant to be like a high volume printer. It's meant to do like the fancy stuff. Yeah, that's what Toasty's for. Well, no, it wasn't the Wi-Fi, it was the router. Like the actual router turned back on. Like the power came on within like 30 seconds a minute, but the router, like I had no internet. Like it was not connecting. It was like all red lights across the board. And even still, like right now, I don't have cell phone. My cell phone is not, like it's getting like, I'm getting 1 bar, no connection to my cell phone. So, yep. Some people donated. I missed one. Talfox, $2. Thank you. Appreciate it. Have you tried putting your Wi-Fi in rice? Matt, $5. True fans. Thank you. Appreciate it. KB3D, $10. Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, I tried tungsten nozzle. The nozzle X is working fine. So, do I have shot? No, I have MNSI, which is a local provider. So right now I have 1,000 down, 750 up, and I pay $80 a month in Canada. No chat on screen. Let me properties, refresh cache. Okay, chat might show up now. Do we lose chat on screen? We lost chat on screen. Oh, there we go. 80 CAD. Yeah, I live in Canada. There we go. I had to refresh the cache. How many channels is the carrot feed? I'm gonna build a 6th one. I figured do the middle size one. Sparta 3D is a company that sells stuff in Canada for 3D printers. Bunch of Voron stuff. Good guy. So how many people did we lose there? We dropped down from 340 down to 67. Who left? Who left? No cookie. No brownies. That's what you get for leaving. Disappointed. Disappointed. Kilo Cubic, $50. Put that towards a UPS for your router. I would need two. Well, the problem is if the power goes out, I lose. The computer goes out. The camera goes out. The lights go out. My router or my modem is in one room. My router is in another room. Because my internet comes in my laundry room, and then it goes through the ceiling to where my router is. Because the router is hooked up to a trunk that I ran down the house for Ethernet. So. $100 a month for 1,000 down, 30 up. Dude, that video that I uploaded today was a 2 gig file, and it uploaded in like 45 seconds. I was like, oh my god, yes. Because before I had 4010. So. Do I have any issues about heat in the webcam in the enclosure? I haven't had any issues yet. So, I'm running PyCam and like C920s and C270s. What is the best? There's a few different mounts for the camera. On like V226 here, I have the camera on a boom arm that looks down into the printer. A few people mount it like in the front here looking up, a few mounted in the inside going down. Look on the Discord, there's a few on there, I believe. So. Can you firmware Z-hop? I don't think you could turn it off and on midway through the print. I don't think. You have to have it like in your slicers. Oh, hey, we're printing. What temp? I'm getting anywhere between 50 and 60 depending on the printer. The only outlier is Tallboy, because that's only coroplast. It's not fully gasketed. It's a pretty big printer, like it's 330 by 330 by 400. That gets about 40, 45 depending on where you are. $100, Misadventure Melting Plastic. The dock you forgot about. You're not Dre, Doc. You're more of like a Bugs Bunny Doc, I believe. But thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, Doc's here. Everyone hide. Why is your tool head paused? Because it's waiting for the temperatures to stabilize. And I pushed the wrong button. Oh, wait, no. That's why. 1 second. Cancel. I had the wrong starting code in this guy. Where did I have it? One second here. try again. Oh no, I had the start G code kind of screwed up. I had to fix it. At computer and cannot run. Not a chance. Thank you for becoming a member. Is the Anycubic Photon 0? I have the Photon Mono 2K. I like it. It's a little on the small size print volume wise. Lola's upstairs. But like it does some damn good prints. So why are you giving me move exceeds extrusion distance warning? That shouldn't be an issue. Why are you suddenly an issue? You weren't an issue with the last print. This is the same G code. Why am I suddenly getting an error that I didn't get before? Reset file, home all. I didn't change my print start though. It's a move exceeds maximum extrusion print fail. Turn it upside down. Yeah, it worked upside down. Why is this not working now? What did I screw up? What did I change? I didn't change anything. Reboot the Pi. Yeah, maybe something got borked there. Yeah, max extrude cross section. Yeah, I have that in, so yeah, save and restart. Let me reboot the Pi. Host, reboot. Let's try a reboot. Okay, let's try this again. Print the first layer upside down. Is LDO? I believe they are a Chinese company. Yes, the power did go out, Garrett. And kind of screwed up my Raspberry Pi a little bit, I believe. Ooh, this ain't good. Why are you... Something ain't right here. Something ain't right here. Cancel, cancel, cancel. Something ain't right here. Something ain't right. It's not reading the bed temperature at all. Hard reset. Yeah, it's not reading the bed temperature at all. Uh-oh. SpaghettiOs. Yeah, it was reading the bed as being 49 degrees Celsius and not changing at all, and not responding to power up or power down. Okay, now the bed's responding. Okay, that's responding there. Okay, so now the bed's work. Okay, so that's responding there. Heat that up. And try and print. What I'm really curious is why it's giving me a warning of maximum extrusion exceeded on the G code that worked previously before the power outage. That is what I'm concerned about. Because it was working, and now the exact same G code is failing to work. So why aren't you working? Yeah, Doc, with you doing PIF, it makes total sense for you to have all your machines on UPSs. For me, like, literally the power goes out never, except for a flash of a couple seconds during thunderstorms in the summer. I just usually make it a point not to print anything super important during those storms. I didn't change the config. That's the thing. I didn't do anything to change it. All I did was add the thing that actually you're supposed to have that I didn't need before. Okay, so a homes. Yeah, move exceeds maximum extrusion. What the heck is this error? Move exceeds maximum extrusion. And then it stops. But the thing is, to get rid of that error, you normally just have a max extrude cross section. Because to get rid of that, you just add that line and it usually fixes it. Oh, it's, yeah, max extrude cross section. Yeah, I think the G-code file is corrupted or something. Remove. File currently used. Reset file. Upload. Print. The thing, Tater, is why would it all of a sudden be trying to do relative instead of absolute when it did the exact same G code an hour ago just fine? Yeah, it's the prime line. Home all. Print start. I didn't change anything. Why is this being all screwy all of a sudden? I'm assuming somebody's trying to get a hold of me on the Discord. Okay, here we go. Prime nozzle, print start. Okay, here, one second. Let me... Okay, copy that. That's that, that's that, that's that. Okay, save, restart. Let's try this. Trying a different start. Which is weird because it worked before. That's what I'm so confused about. Is we got one print out of here of it working and now it's not. That's what's the really weird, funky thing is why would it work and then suddenly not work? Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's obviously the prime line dock. The thing is, why would the prime line work before? Because I've printed a whole bunch of stuff. Like, I printed this earlier in the stream with the exact same start code. And then a power cycle and it's no longer working. Thomas, $10. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Gigatech, thank you for becoming a member. And Jason's here. Everyone say hi to Jason. His company made the kit for this. And motors, and rails, and extrusions, and all the other cool stuff. Okay, so now, okay, so it does the prime at that, and it goes up to there, and then... Okay, now we're good. Now we're good. There we go. I put in a different G-code start. Something broke with this one apparently, which is really odd that it would work and then not work. Focus, autofocus. There we go. Yeah, that part was weird. Oh, and now turn the camera upside down. So, this was the first print. So this was printed upside down. So as you can see, it's going to be really interesting to see how the brim on the hat turns out, and how the fingers turn out. So there's overhangs and there's fingers and really fine detail. So it's going to be really interesting to see the differences between these two. One printed right side up and one upside down. So. The Norav. So we just had a little bit of power, just a wee bit of power outage. I'm hungry. I just, yeah, it's steak and potatoes for dinner. And now I'm hungry. You're at Six Flags. Oh, dude, everything here is still like closed down. Like, I think you can now go to movies up here. Working all the parts for the 2.4 last week. Hopefully we can release the first batch in 2 months. Awesome. I am not doing a marathon of that build. Derek, thank you for coming a member. What's the smallest diameter? Honestly, I think I did a 0.3 millimeter once. I normally have 0.4s and everything, except for Tallboy usually has a 0.6. Right now it has a 1.2. I'm tempted to put a small nozzle in here, like a 0.25. I think I have a 0.25. Yeah, I do have a 0.25 I could throw in here, and I might try. The thing is, though, me getting a resin printer kind of killed all my my want of a fine detail FDM machine, because I have a resin printer now. Please do a Marathon 2.4 build. No. Doc, this is the PIF profile. I just kind of tweaked a few things to make it PLA friendly. I think I slowed it down a little bit. Yeah, do not rush it, Jason. Just whatever happens, happens. Because whenever they come, I'm sure they will sell. Yes, this is Jesse PLA Mystery Orange. I actually really like it. That's what I printed this minutes in. So this is the Jesse PLA. And then for those wondering how well the V0 holds tolerances, this is one of those fancy print-in-place snake models where it's all hidden joints. And it's all like a nightmare to try and put it all back together properly. But this is all print in place in one piece, and you like pop it off the bed. Yeah. So this was all print in place one piece on the V0. If we did a 2.4 stream, we would have to tag team it. That'd be fun. Yeah, 2.4 marathon build's a little too much. That would be. Oh, hey, puppy. Hey, sit. Sit. I don't think the camera can see you. Oh, there you go. There you go. He's in frame. The thing is, I've already done a 2.4 build on stream, so I'd have to do something different to make it different. Oh. What, you want pets? What? Oh my god, you are needy tonight. Was all the thunder scary? And you're like, okay, now I'm done with pets. Let me out. Rainbow anodized frame. Oh. And somebody said I need to put oil on the doors. I didn't build the basement. Like, we bought this house. Somebody already lived in it. They did the basement. They did not do a good job. Voron Delta. Well, there would have to be a Voron Delta, and there is no plans for a Voron Delta, so that stream probably will never happen. Yeah, well, here's the thing. I didn't think that I could do a V0 in a day, and I did. But yeah, the V2 is a much more in-depth build. Maybe if you pre-assembled a bunch of stuff, like the tool head, and like got everything ready and did a bunch of pre-assemblies of stuff and just kind of, you know, built the frame a day, like kind of did a bunch of prep work and then just kind of assembled it, like slapped it all together in a day, maybe. I could see that. I don't know. Like tomorrow I got to get the Sidex printer unboxed and start working around with that. Oh god, a marathon stream and then with drinking, oh god. Well, I haven't heard thunder in a while, so let me... Open map. Oop. Yeah, so it's a bit, yeah, it looks like most of it passed by. So I should be in the clear. In terms of print quality, so here's the thing, pretty much all Vorons print the same. Some can just print a little bit faster than others, and some have more quality of life improvements. But honestly, most 3D printers, if you take the time to tune it and have a good profile, all print within, for the most part, margin of error of each other. Like, it's, all printers print good if you take the time to tune them right, and they're mechanically built well, right? Like an ANET A8, you can only do so much with it. But comparing like a Voron V2 and a Project R3D Daedalus, a Rat Rig, like any good 3D printer, if you take the time to tune it right and have a properly set up profile, they'll all print good. So, like if you're curious of what speeds I'm using right now, I have to load up Super Slicer because it crashed, because the computer crashed, because the power went out. Yeah, that little orange strand, I see it. Yeah, come here. There we go. Hopefully it didn't cause a layer shift. So yeah, if you're curious what my print speeds and feeds are right now, this is what I'm printing at. So perimeters are 80, external perimeter 40, infill 120. So this is a little bit slower than a my V2 profile. But I haven't really done a full tune on the profile for this printer yet. I just took my V2 profile, which is based off Doc's PIF profile, and just kind of slowed it down a bit until I figured out how this machine was running. Yeah, there's a lot of things that people like judge wrong in 3D printing, like print quality. Any printer can print well if you take the time. That's why, like, if you watch any of my, like, most of my review videos, like, I don't have a lot of them, but if I do a review on something, I very rarely just prayed out a bunch of prints and like, oh, look at these. It's because it's like, it's a hot end. The nozzle is what affects print quality of the hot end, right? Any hot end can print good, as long as it's does it not jam? Okay. Does it print as fast as you need to print? Okay. What's the print difference? Your print quality is really not going to change. Same with flow rate. Like now that I've like looked into it a lot, flow rate is kind of like a adjunct metric to compare hot ends, because what is flow rate? What is the ISO standard plastic at what speed and what extruder? Does all companies use the exact same method for measuring flow rate? Because some companies are like, oh, our flow rate's this. It's like, okay, what if I'm running like water through my hot end, or the most liquidy mess of PLA through my hot end? Yeah, I'm sure there are plastics that you can get and tune and like get specially formulated to just flow through a hot end. So there's no set standard for flow rate comparison. So what is flow rate? It's like when you see, you know, CFM measurements on a lot of like fan producers. They're not all the same. So my Monoprice Mini printed excellent. One of the best benchies I've ever printed was on my Monoprice Select Mini back in the day. It also took 2 hours, so. Drio, I would be amazed if you knew that off the top of your head. That would be cool. But yeah, like that's the thing. Like, so you're seeing a lot of now hot ends where they're like, oh, our hot end is like the leading outflow, right? It's yeah, language. Its flow rate is super cool. The problem is there's no set standard for measuring flow rate, and even then, you know, you can't always print fast. This is a silk filament. Silk filament, if you want this nice shiny, you cannot print it fast. So a high flow rate ain't gonna do anything there. If you're printing a high detail model with a lot of fine points, you can't print that fast. A lot of plastics, you can't print it fast. Like, that's why all the speed benchy people print either one object, small and quick, or a very simple shape, large object. ABS, a lot of them use ABS for a reason. ABS flows a lot faster and behaves a lot better at high speed printing than PLA. So there are limits to what you can, how quickly you can melt and resolidify plastic and still get acceptable quality with different materials and different printers. So flow rate isn't everything. So like right now, like I only have a high flow in one of my printers and I don't run into any issues. And that's just a standard high flow. That's like a Dragon high flow. All these other printers run standard flow and they cap out around 16 to 18 millimeters a second, or millimeters cubed a second with like the Dragons and whatnot. So what good suggestions? Just make it as good as the V0 kit, man. Personally, I would say go with 1.8 motors all around instead of the 0.9s, because the 0.9s a lot of people are having hissing and whining issues with. I swapped out my 0.9 motors out of Toasty into the LDO 1.8s. So change the music up a bit. What do we got right now? Okay, let's go to, let's do some synth. We haven't done some synth wave in a while. Doc likes the 0.9s. I think it really depends on what kind of setup you're running. Sometimes it doesn't affect it as much. I know the whining was super annoying, so I just swapped it for the 1.8s. I'm not building an IDEX. I have one. A company sent me one. It's Artist D Pro from JG Maker. Okol, Aussie, $5. Did I get any job offers from 3D printing company yet? No, I did not, and I don't think there's any in my area, so yeah. Don't make your hobby your job, but here I am trying to potentially make my hobby a job, and then I would go at that point and make my hobby a job again. No. Yeah, like I live in Southern Ontario. There's like nothing here, which is funny considering we're like one of the largest areas when it comes to like injection mold making companies. But yeah, Jason, for the kit, make sure a wire loom, a pre-made wire loom out of like PTFE or other high quality wire, not silicone, you would sell those kits like hotcakes. I love how many people DM me when the power went out. Like, hey, your power went out. I'm like, I know. How to calibrate a Core XY? It depends what kind of calibrate. I have like some videos on my channel about like some things you should be doing first with Clipper after you build a printer, but when it comes to like actually calibrating a Core XY printer, make sure your belts are tensioned evenly, make sure there's enough tension on them, but not too much tension. And yeah. There really isn't much when it comes to like Core XY specific calibration other than the belts. Ooh, you can tell I've been up all day. What is my full-time job? I work at a shop that builds plastic injection molds. I am a tool maker, an injection mold maker by trade. I work on the floor, I'm not an engineer. I have a apprenticeship graduation, or apprenticeship diploma from the college. Oh, you didn't know the power went out? Yeah, no, it went out hardcore. Jason, I think it just has something to do with the way from what I've seen, 0.9 motors with TMC 2209, some brands of TMC 2209 steppers have issues. It's a harmonics issue. It's not a performance issue. It doesn't affect the prints at all. It's just at certain speeds and feeds, with certain combinations of drivers and motors at certain currents, it just makes noise. It just makes an annoying, like, whining noise. I was close to getting rid of it, and then I just said screw it and swapped in 1.9s that I use on every other machine that I don't have any issues with. So. Oh, yeah. Hey, this is nice. Don't be stealing my videos. Video removed, video removed, video removed. Don't be stealing my stuff, guys. Andrew, in terms of what drivers, just get TMC 2209s. They're good enough for 99% of people out there. They have all the bells and whistles you need. Most people don't need to go all fancy with the heavy-duty 5160s or the 2226s or whatever. Just get TMC 2209s. That's the go-to. That's the Honda Civic of drivers right now. Everything you need, good price. They work with pretty much everything. So 5160s are beefcake and way overpowered for 3D printing applications. The fact that most people are using Duet 3, a lot of people are using Duet 3s to power NEMA 23s and CNC machines, is overkill. So, what brands? Whatever brand controller. If you're running a Big Tree Tech controller, get BTT 2209s. If you're running a Physec, get Physec 2209. Or if you want to be fancy, get the Watercots. Here's the thing. The drivers themselves are all the TMC Watercot or whatever manufacturer. They're all OEM drivers. It's just the board that the driver sits on is differently manufactured. But I recommend getting the board, the driver board, from whatever manufacturer your controller board is. So all my Big Tree Tech controllers, all my SKRs and Octopuses use Big Tree Tech drivers. All my Physec Octopus uses Physec drivers. So. And that's just to make it easier and less potential issues. Richard, it's not really a rumor. They've said they'll look into it because a bunch of people are like, when I brought it up in my review video, they have a separate motor in, so you could feed a separate voltage to the motor. The problem is the caps on the board are only good for 35 volts. So you really can only feed it because you need a margin of safety, right? You can't feed it 35 volts. That's too close to the cap. You want to feed it less than what the motor is rated, or the caps are rated for. So if you have 35 volt caps, like the most you could feed the motors is 32, which going from 24 to 32 is not a big jump. Realistically, you would want to be able to feed the motors 48 volts. With 5160s, that's the most you can feed them. So you want to be able to feed them, 48 volts. And for that, you would need pretty much 60 volt caps for safety. So that is something they're looking into, but yeah. Bits Bytes. No, that was somebody had re-uploaded several of my videos that I was taking them down. So that was me making the copyright claim, because YouTube will tell me if somebody has videos with my content in it. So 24 to 32 is pretty significant. Really? I wouldn't think it would be too much. But the thing is, it would be better to go to 48. Yes, you could do 32, but it would be better to go to 48. Yeah, no, like here's the thing, like if it's an audio clip, they'll just claim it. Like most companies won't take down your video if you have copyrighted stuff in the video. They'd rather just take the AdSense money that you make. So, but I'm kind of lucky because like my music, I'm streaming Stream Beats, which is, it's meant for streaming. So like, this is what you're listening to is Stream Beats. It's all music specifically for streaming. So you don't get DMCA'd. So that's what I stream. All my content's original. I don't have clips or anything in it, so I don't have to worry about copyright usually. Yeah, and 32 volts are not common. You would think it would be 36 would be the common one, because it's usually in 12 volt increments, right? 12, 24, 36, 48. Where are we at? We are at 35%. Really? Could have sworn the first print didn't take that long. Yeah, it's the drive. The stepper motors can handle it. Like stepper motors, do I have any? You can feed them, quite a bit of juice. Like I don't even know how much voltage these can actually take. But it's the drivers you got to worry about. Yeah, you would 36 volt and then dial it back manually to 32. Prints faster upside down. Well, yeah, because the plastic falls out of the hot end quicker, right? What's my experience with flexible filaments? I don't have it. Where'd it go? I got the tire. I don't know. I've printed a few of them, but I've mostly printed them for like testing stuff out for video. I don't like normally print a lot of flexibles, so. But I printed a few. I have some on hand for when I need it. Prints fine. Just all my printers have dual drive extruders except for the bonsai. So they all print flexibles just fine. Will I ever build a rat rig? If I'm not going to go buy one, put it that way. And I don't need another Core XY. I don't need any of the printers I have, right? I'm past the point now where I need printers. So it would be hard for me to justify getting one, put it that way. That's why I'm like more looking into like potentially CNC stuff for like building something of my own next. Because I have like 10 printers now. Part of me wants a bigger resin right now though. That's I want to do some stuff with a resin now. I'm starting to really like resin printing, except for the pain in the butt stuff involved with the post-processing. Not about need, it's about watching you break things and teach us why. Oh, that's true. Everything, I can business expense it, right? I can just use it as a business expense and then write it off of my taxes. Frozen Mega 8K. Yeah, everyone tweet at Frozen on Twitter and tell him to give me one. I can't justify dropping several thousand on a resin, believe me. I would have to get a big wash station too, because my wash station is barely big enough to hold the Lola Bunny print I did the other day. 20,000 subscriber giveaway. I gotta do a giveaway soon. These down here, I do gotta do a giveaway. For some reason, Big Tree Tech sent me a stack of octopuses I gotta give away. So, yeah, I gotta figure out what to do with them. I did not think they were gonna send them to me. They tweeted out, they were messaging me on DMs and they're like, hey, you want to do a giveaway for your subscriber or your viewers? I'm like, yeah, sure. I love giveaways, right? I love giving you guys stuff. And they're like, cool. Does 10 sound fine? I'm like, yeah. And then they just mailed me 10 of them. Like, they have my address because they've sent me stuff in the past, but I did not think they were just going to send me 10 octopuses. I thought they would, you know, I would do draws and send them the info and they would send them out. But no, they just sent me a box with 10 octopuses in it. And I live in Canada and shipping is expensive. So I got to figure out how to get rid of these. So yeah. Send me one, I'll pay shipping. I'll figure something out. I'm going to figure something out. I got to figure out, I think next week I'm going to do a draw for one in Canada, one in the US, and one in Europe, and just see how much I get screwed over on shipping, and then I'll figure out what to do with the rest at that point. Because the thing is, they're already packaged, so I gotta see how much, because Canada sucks for shipping. Like, it's not like the US where I can just get like an $8 USPS mailer and just let it ride. I have to go like find out. But yeah, so I've got a whole bunch of octopuses, and somebody would get an octopus that is open that I opened up for a video. So it's unused. I just had to open it out of the package because I needed one to use on the video that I was recording. Just give 2 to each of your 5 Canadian subscribers. Hey. How is the follow-up on the 3D printers photos? Oh, James, I don't have the time. I was planning to do something where I would sit down and go through all the photos and like critique everyone's and do like a whole, you know, like rate your setup thing. The problem is it just keeps getting bumped back because to sit down and do all that, I just don't have the time. Unfortunately, like in case you haven't noticed, there's been a little bit of a drop off in actual like standalone videos on my channel. I don't do, again, much as I would love to, this isn't my full-time job. I have a full-time job. I have a toddler son. I'm married. I have a house. It's summer. I got to cut the grass and whatnot. I just don't have the time. That's why I stream a lot. Streaming is very easy for me. So I can just turn the camera on and we can go live and we can do stuff for several hours and that's it. Like the video I put out today, that video took probably all in about 10 hours in terms of like having to print everything, like go, you know, slice everything, get it set up, get it printed, print all the things for the video, record all the video, edit everything, upload it, you know, talk to my thanks rep, get the links and everything. Like, it's a lot more involved to make a video than to just live stream. So I do have all those emails. I will try and do something. I might do that for the next sponsor stream, because I'm going to start trying to do a membership stream, like a stream once a month at least for members, for everyone who's like a Patreon member or subscriber. And maybe for the next one we'll do that. We'll rate everyone's rigs. We'll go through and take a look at them. And then what I do is a month after that, I make that public for everyone. So like last month's member stream where we did all the prep work for the V0 build, that's now live on my channel that you can watch. So. You can't cross the border though, so. YouTube takes 30% of everything. It's a flat 30%, which is actually better than Twitch. Twitch takes half. So if you Twitch Prime somebody, or you give them the, well, you don't, not Twitch Prime, but if you you subscribe to somebody on, what is it on Twitch? Is it not subscribe? Is it subscribe? Yeah, because it's follow and then subscribe. If you sub to somebody on Twitch, they get half of that. YouTube is actually better. I get 70% of everything you give me. Patreon, I think, takes a smaller cut. I do believe, though. The thing with Patreon, I like Patreon separately. The problem is it's hard for me to integrate the Patreon into the YouTube. So, for example, like when I do a members stream, I have to stream it as an unlisted stream, and then I have to put out a post saying, hey guys, I'm doing a members stream, and like have the post labeled members only. So put out a post that's flagged for my members only saying, hey, I'm doing a members stream, here's the link to it, and then go on my Patreon and also drop the link there. And then technically anyone who has that link, even if you're not a member or a Patreon supporter, you can get in because it's just an unlisted stream. I can't make a members and Patreon only stream. So it kind of makes it more of a pain in the butt to organize stuff, splitting it. But Patreon, I get more direct support of your donation. So yeah. Drio, thank you for becoming a member. Where is Sparta 3D? They are in Canada. Jason, in terms of the Big Tree Tech, the Spider has QC issues more often than the Octopus, from what I'm understanding. I haven't actually heard of anyone having any issues with the Octopus or any major issues. If anyone has had any issues with the Octopus, let me know. The only thing I know about it is the sensor pin hookup doesn't work with the Omron probes. It's something to do with voltage drop. So you still got to use like the BAT85 diode and hook it up to an end stop like you would on any other board. But that's a non-issue. That's like a non-issue. What about OnlyFans? I have Only Benchies. So make sure you go to onlybenchies.com and support me there, right? You got to go to Only Benchies. Bardicus, I believe he's southie. I think he's in the GTA area. So yeah, so Jason, I would say the Big Tree Tech. That's what I would lean more towards. Because otherwise, your other option is the Physec or the dual SKR2s, which don't make sense anymore. Yeah, I peaked at 340 viewers and then the power went out and it went down to 76. And then it's been sitting around 280 since then. So that means there's about 80, 90 people that just power went out, they left. They're not the true fans. Is Only Benchy still up? I'm pretty sure you own the site. Onlybenchies.com. Yep, it still works. I can't remember who stole the website for me to hang on to it, but I gotta actually set up a website. I'm waiting for that Squarespace sponsorship so I can set up a website, or Wix or whatever. I need that. I need to set up a site at some point because I want to set up a site so that I can put all the stuff that I use often on there that people ask me for on the site. So like start codes and like some written stuff. I will say though, that little 5-volt fan is working pretty good, because before I would get little warnings that would constantly pop up here saying overheat, and it would be like 60 degrees, because I think it trips at 60, and now with the little fan going in there, we don't have that issue anymore. So we got a little bit of air movement in there. So yeah, it was the short links that broke. I stopped using them anyways. 4on Kit was sponsored by Squarespace. Yeah, I need that LTT sponsor. My scuffed LTT store water bottle is the joke's starting to run out. Although props to Linus, he I put out a tweet about my YouTube issue when they kept repeating they couldn't fix it. So of course, when you can't fix it, you make a lot of noise. And Linus did reach out to me about that, but luckily somebody in the community managed to get it in front of the right person to get it fixed. So yeah, so if you're not subscribed to Linus Tech Tips, go subscribe to them. He's awesome. I haven't used the short links in a while. I think some old videos might have them. Would a SKR V2 with extension board work with Avora? As long as you can drive enough motors, you would be okay. Like, you could run a duet with the duet expander. You can run in a ramps with an expander board if you want. Like, my V226 here, okay? The one with the cardboard box that's been sitting in it for a while, used to run a duet with a custom expander on it. So I still have it. I think I'm going to put this in the 3018. So this is the former controller that I used to have in V226. So this is a Physek Duet 2 clone, and with a custom expander board that was originally designed, and this is how old it is. Yeah. You want to know how old this is? Can't see it. That's an MZBot logo, like a legit MZBot logo. Like, this is old. So this was designed for the original V2 back when it was ramps, and you would plug this into a ramps, and it would give you 3 more stepper drivers. It would readjust pins so you could get 3 more steppers out of it. And then we figured out that you could use it on a duet to a clone duet, and this would give you the cheap option for a high-speed V2, because back in the day of the early V2, Clipper wasn't a thing. So you either went with 8-bit Marlin with a ramps with a hacked-on expander board and go dog slow, like I think it was 100 millimeters a second travels were the max you could do, or you go with the really expensive duet plus duet Duex expander, running rep wrap, and that was expensive at the time. It was like almost 500 Canadian for that. Or you buy a Duet 2 clone off AliExpress for, I paid like just over 120 bucks. And then the expander, plus in this case I ran 2 2208s drivers that were one-time programmed to spread cycle mode. So this whole setup cost less than a Duet by itself. And this would allow you to run rep wrap and go super fast. And then I ended up flashing Clipper on this. So yeah, you can use expanders. But nowadays, with the Octopus and the Spider being one board solutions, you might as well go with the one board solution. What is the GTR? Ask around China partners use spiders. They say pretty much returns or warranty issue. That sounds about right about the spiders. Like, unfortunately, the Spider is a really good board. Like, I like the board. I'm having no issues with mine. Like, they sent me a board free. I put it in my printer. It's working fine. I haven't had any issues. But I know a lot of other people have. The Octopus is working pretty good to my knowledge. I don't think anyone's having issues with it. The GTR is... I don't think I have a GTR. I have a I have a Pro, I think. Yeah, I have an SKR Pro. I don't have a GTR. I don't know how many the GTR can hold. I don't think the GTR can do 7 motors. I think it does 6, I believe. I don't know. Yeah, so it would have to be the Octopus, I believe. Does my employer know that I'm a big deal on YouTube? I kind of infer it when they ask me to work overtime and I say no. But no, I don't mention the YouTubes. Although a few people at work have found my channel. And apparently my brother watches this, so hi Mitchell. You could do it with the with the daughter board, but it's easier to just have a one board solution instead of having an add-on board. You might as well go with the personally I think nobody's having issues with the octopus to my knowledge, so you might as well go with the octopus. It's a single board solution. It should be okay, I believe. That's kind of where I'm leaning. Unfortunately, Spider is having too many issues. And I'm sure, Jason, you don't want to be hounded by people asking about technical problems with controller boards. Yeah. Yeah, joys of a new board. Hey, you know, if you guys want, you know, we could just say screw it. And we can all just, you know, just run Taco Ravens. This was in Tallboy up until like a month ago or whenever I swapped in the octopus. So we could always go back to embrace the taco. And for size comparison. Would I add anything to the octopus? Richard, I would remove stuff from the octopus that cost it down. Because there's a lot of stuff on the octopus most people will never need. I would build an octopus with a little bit less of everything. Like, it doesn't need the external hookup for a Wi-Fi module for when it supports RepRap down the line. No. I run Clipper. I would cost it down to remove as much of the excess that you don't need. I would put it so that it could put 60 volt caps on it, which would make it a bigger board, but put 60 volt caps on it so you could run 48 volt drivers, and that would be it. Remember, with Clipper, your controller board really doesn't matter, okay? Like, I could take V226 here, take the Spider out, put an octopus in, the prints would be exactly the same. Like, it doesn't matter. I could almost put a ramps in there, and you probably would never notice any difference in print quality. So, with Clipper, your controller board, you need it for the hookups. The hookups and the drivers. That's all you need it for, really. At least any of the 32-bit boards. They all have the overhead that you need. Like, I've got so many boards. Like, I've got a Fly CDY V2. I gotta put in something at some point. And then, hey, disregard 32. Return to ramps. All the controller boards. And then I've got 10 octopus sitting here. And then that's running an SKR2. Which the SKR2 is fine. They fixed the SKR2 now. The first revision, don't touch it. But they fixed it. I think some of the large boards can take Clipper. I'm not 100% sure. They're not that common, so I've never really looked into them. And then I gotta try it. I've got a Big Tree Tech TFT50, which plugs in over the DisplayPort cable on a Raspberry Pi. So I think I could get Clipper screen on here, if I'm not mistaken. So that is gonna be something I'm gonna try out in the next little while. The 3D view, you have to use a slicer that supports it. So in my case here, Super Slicer and Prusa Slicer, I believe, are the two that support it. See, Andrew, that makes sense. Like, having more fans and NeoPixel control makes more sense for upgrading controller board. But if you're trying to upgrade for better print quality, it isn't going to do anything. Yeah, more fans are good. Honestly, I can't believe controller boards for the longest time were so rationing with their fans. You'd get one always on fan and you would get one CNC fan and that was it. Like, I can't believe how long controller boards stuck with that. Like, it doesn't cost that much to add. Like, there's available pins. Just add the MOSFET, pay the extra 10 cents in components and add fans. Like, personally, you should have at least 3 controllable fans and 1 always on fan. But the thing is, for an always on fan, you can always just draw directly from the power supply. But you should always have your part fan, your hot end fan, and a controller fan. Those should always be there available. Because even, like, you know, the cheap printers like the Enders where the hot end fan, or the hot end fan is always on, that's not great. Because, yeah, you want it on when it's printing, but when the printer's idle, you're just killing the fan. You're killing the life of the fan. The bearings only last so long. So, like, all these printers, well, except for the switch wire, all these printers are on right now. Like, I keep all my printers on all the time. They're in standby mode. Like, all that's on right now is pretty much the Raspberry Pi and the MCU. None of the fans are on. None of the motors are on. None of the heaters are on. They're just waiting. So, yeah, you can just flick, you know, connect to them, load a file, and off it goes, and everything kicks on. You save power. Like, the one that probably wastes the most power is Toasty here, because it's got the LEDs that are just wired in, so they're always on when the printer's on. Which, I gotta put those in V226 next. Well, it only wasn't that dang cardboard box always in the way. On a Cartesian printer, the math isn't that complicated, so 8-bit isn't that big of a detriment. Yet. The fact is, you're never going to run input shaper on it. You're never going to run, you know, you got basic linear advance. You don't have the very smooth pressure advance, so, yeah. Creality boards always have, yep. I got one right here, the 422 out of the Ender 3 V2. I've got one CNC fan and one always on fan. And that's it. Could be worse. It could be, where is it? I know I have it over here somewhere because I had to fix it. Actually, it might be in this. Yep, here it is. So here, I like this form factor. This is a really small board, but this is the controller board out of a Monoprice Select Mini. And this has one fan. It's a controllable fan. It is a PWM fan, but it only has one fan because the Monoprice Select Mini has one fan for hot end cooling and part cooling. So if you turn off your hot end fan for your first few layers, it also turns off your, if you turn off your part fan for the first few layers, your hot end fan is off too. But yeah, this is like a really nice compact board, but the problem is it's like 4988s, or yeah, it's HR4998 drivers. You have no ability to set voltage. And it is 32-bit. It does run Clipper. I could put Clipper on here. But it's only, you know, 4 motors, bed, hot end, single fan, and end stops, I believe. Yeah. But it is a nice little controller board. Yes, Eric, I did get the YouTube stuff fixed. How many fans are available on an Octopus? A lot. So this is the one octopus that I haven't used, but I opened it up because I needed a prop for the video and I wasn't going to rip it out of my printer. But the octopus has 6 CNC fans and 2 always-on fans, and all the fans are voltage selectable. So you can either have them each individually selected 5, 12, or 24 volts. The Spider has 3 CNC fans, but it also has 3 more that are dual purpose. They're either CNC fans or they're RGB fans. So technically it has 6 CNC fans, but only 3 are voltage selectable. The other 3 are all the same voltage. So yeah, the octopus is that. Oh yeah, but you're comparing it's an 8 driver board. So you would have to compare it to 2 5 driver boards if, you know, in a big printer. So this isn't meant to go in a V0. But it's not that big. Like if you want to compare it, you know, here it is compared to my Duet 2 with the expander, and it's a little bit longer, but it's not as fat. So it's big, but it's not that big, and it's got more stuff on it than this does. Yep, the octopus also has 4 hot end outputs that you can use any unused one as a fan. But the Spider, to be fair, the Spider can also do that too. Do I have a Clipper expansion board? I do not. Are the fans on the SKR2 voltage selectable? I don't believe so. I think they're VIN, so whatever you're feeding into the controller is what they are. I'm not 100% sure though. Print's almost done, by the way. And then once it's done, we'll take a look at both of them quickly. It's hard to say if there's any difference between the two. Because newsflash, Maker's Muse already covered. I think it was Maker's Muse or CNC Kitchen. I don't know. One of the other 3D printer YouTubers already covered printing upside down. It doesn't make any difference. Raymond, if you send me more PCB stuff, it would probably just sit on a shelf. I don't need an expander board on any of my printers right now. At this point, if I needed an expander board, I would just throw an octopus in it because I have so many of them. Yeah, it's almost done. How long does it take to build a V0? Glad you asked. I live streamed the whole build. If you've built a printer before, I did 2 to 3 hours of prep work. I put in all the heat set inserts. I flashed the firmware on the controller and the MCU. Made sure I had all the parts. I did 2 to 3 hours of prep work, and then the actual assembly took 8 hours. And then another hour of doing like PID tuning, configuring end stops, making sure everything was functional and whatnot, and then a print. So like 12 to 13 hours for somebody who has built multiple Vorons. For somebody who kind of knows about 3D printers, you know, they've tinkered on an Ender for a bit, like they kind of know what they're doing. You're still looking at probably a weekend project if you spend your whole weekend working on it. So yeah, my first V0 build was about 23 hours. So, oh hey, print's done. By the way, Jason, these flex plates are awesome. Like, adhesion is amazing during prints and the parts just pop right off. So, so this one is right side up, and this one is upside down. They look exactly the same. Yeah, they honestly, look. Quit moving, camera. They look damn near the same. So yeah, printing upside down, fun. I'm gonna let that dry all night, and then I'll throw it in the printer, and then I gotta build an IDEX tomorrow. So yeah, so that was the stream tonight. Just print and chill, have some fun, print upside down. Next big project again is gonna be the multi-filament extruder rabbit feeder. That hopefully maybe start next week, if not, whenever the parts show up for it. If not, I should have the IDEX all built. So then next stream, if we don't start the rabbit project, we will just play around with an IDEX printer on stream. Because he told me not to build it on stream, but he didn't say anything about printing with it on stream. So maybe we'll throw it in a cardboard box and try and do some solubles and support and whatnot and try that. So yeah, so I'm gonna call the stream now. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hope you learned something new, or actually tonight we just kind of goofed around. But hey, fun times were had by all. Sorry about the power outage. Unfortunately, I don't have power over God and or Thor in this case. That was out of my control. Sorry. But yeah, so enjoy the rest of your weekend. For all those that donated to the stream, you guys are awesome. For all those who became channel members, support things I do, the content I create, you're awesome. Anyone who just hung out during the stream, you're also awesome. Everyone is awesome. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekends, guys. Be safe out there. Wash your hands. You know, we're coming near the end of that, at least up here in Canada. We're getting on the other side of the COVID thing. So keep washing your hands, though. It's good hygiene. And cheers.